As you may have noticed, equity has been on my mind as I've created the 1-5-15 these past couple of weeks. I've been thinking about how we can better meet the needs of all of our students. Well, one way, I believe, is to adopt a more culturally responsive approach to instruction, feedback, classroom management, and student discipline. Now, cultural responsiveness is not a bag of tricks that magically motivates previously unengaged students. Instead, it's accepting the fact that the culture of most schools, including ours, mirrors that of white middle class America. That is the culture most of us come from, so it makes sense that the culture of the building that we've created together would reflect that. Cultural responsiveness is also becoming aware of the fact that many of the values and customs that we take for granted are foreign to a number of our students. This creates miscommunication and at times even conflict. While I do believe it is the responsibility of our students to quickly learn what the expectations are at Faribault High School, I also believe that we can do a better job of embracing the cultural traits of our immigrant students to make them feel validated as humans and use their culture as a bridge to improving their learning outcomes. So, how do we do this? We identify the cultural themes that exist within the homes and communities of our immigrant students and then exhibit them in our classrooms. The hope is that this will affirm the students' dignity by recognizing the pieces of their culture and making them feel it is just as valid as the culture in which they are now immersed. Well, what are some of these cultural themes? A couple years ago, the Center for Applied Cultural Studies for Educational Achievement created a list of 9 recurring cultural themes that were identified by research as being central in the lives of large numbers of African and African American people. They are: number one, spirituality. Religion, yes, but more simply a belief that all elements of the universe are of one spirit. Number two, resilience, the conscious need to bounce back from disappointment and disaster. Number three, verve, a desire for creative extemporaneousness, a sense of utter disdain for the mundane and the monotonous. Number four, communalism, the interdependence of people. And interestingly, the belief that one should act in accordance with the notion that duty to one's family and social group is more important than individual privileges or even individual punishments. Number five, orality and verbal expressiveness, the special importance attached to knowledge that is passed on through word of mouth. It implies a limited role of written language and a reliance on oral expression to communicate meaning and feeling. Number six, personal style and uniqueness, a desire to put one's own brand on an activity, a concern with style more than being efficient or even correct. This cultural habit implies approaching life as if it were an artistic endeavor. Number seven, realness, the need to face life as it is without pretense, and also contempt for being fake, and to formality and to standardization. Number eight, emotional vitality, a sense of aliveness and animation. And finally, number nine, musicality and rhythm, the connectedness of music, movement, dance, percussiveness, and rhythm. Now, when I saw this list, it was an instant wake up call to me about what our African students experience in school. Many of the central themes of the lives of our immigrant students are missing, or in some cases, intentionally avoided. This is obviously going to create barriers to academic achievement, but to me, it's more dire than that. We may be unintentionally communicating to our students that their families and their culture is less valid than our own, that their identity is less valid than that of our white and native students. It pains me to say that I may be acting in ways that increase opportunity and achievement gaps. It makes me feel uncomfortable and even guilty. However, I know that I have to be able to face this uncomfortable topic in order to better meet the needs of all of our students. In closing, we would like to ask that if some of you are willing to dig into these uncomfortable conversations with us, we would love to have them. We will be putting together a team of people that are interested in this type of work and starting an equity team. Our vision is to assemble a dedicated group that can begin to see our current practices through an equity lens and brainstorm ideas to make our school one that can more easily meet the needs of all students. The hope is that by acknowledging that racial, cultural, and socioeconomic inequities do exist, we will be more likely to pursue systemic changes in our school rather than simply blame students, families, and teachers. If you're interested in helping us with this important work, please let Jamie, Joe, or myself know. We're excited to begin this work with you. Have a great week. We are Faribault.